What'd you do? What'd you do?
The ethics of the Thanos snap, Heroes vs. Villains edition. During the climax of Infinity War, Thanos' infamous snap wiped out half of all life in the entirety of the universe. In Thanos' mind, the snap was both entirely justifiable and completely ethical. Killing half of all living beings was the only way to allow the other half to survive the horrors of overpopulation, as those that remain would then have access to twice as many resources. Thanos, one individual in a universe filled with life, took it upon himself to decide what's best for everyone. Was Thanos being merciful or maniacal? Do the ends justify the means? Let's deep dive into the Mad Titan's life and philosophy to find out. During his early years, Thanos' home planet of Titan was ravaged by overpopulation. Thanos beseeched the governing body of Titan to randomly and without prejudice eliminate half the native population. He reasoned this was the only way his people could survive. Like Jor-El of Krypton, Thanos' pleas were ignored by his peers and he was branded a madman while his planet was left in ruins. But unlike Jor-El, whose legacy lived on through Superman, Thanos survived the ordeal as an exile and took matters into his own big purple hands. He enacted his belief in the necessity of population culling on planets all throughout the universe. Thanos surmised that since this universe has finite resources, if life is left unchecked, it will cease to exist. In his defense, Thanos seemed to honestly believe in his mission, as misguided as it may seem. The preservation of all life was his goal above all else. As evidenced by the death of his favored daughter Gamora, he's willing to sacrifice any number of individual lives in order to service the greater good. The death, grief, and destruction that his philosophy likely caused doesn't matter to him. For him, it's the end goal that matters. Thus, Thanos ascribes to the philosophical doctrine known as utilitarianism. In his moral theory, actions are judged morally from right and wrong by their effects and consequences. The ends essentially justify the means to the Mad Titan. Thanos believes that his elimination of 50% of all beings is ethical, as it will ultimately save each species from the same fate that had befallen Titan. While Thanos' use of utilitarianism may seem like a major overkill, the threat of overpopulation is as real in real life as it is in the movies. Significant population booms have resulted from the development of tools, agrarian and industrial revolutions, and have in some way or another allowed an increase in the access to food, shelter, medical advancement, and more. What Thanos had failed to think about were the less deadly solutions to this global issue. You see, overpopulation is solvable. People could voluntarily choose to have less children. Contraception and sex education could be made more widely available and other planets could be colonized and terraformed. In addition, technological advancements can potentially reduce the crippling effects of climate change, making energy consumption and the generations to come more green. All these options were completely disregarded by Thanos. Why didn't he think of better, safer options? We have no idea. But what we do know is that Thanos wasn't the first comic book villain to share this villainistic ideology. Meet Ra's al Ghul, one of Batman's greatest enemies. Like Thanos, Ra's wished to decimate the population of Earth in order to start anew and create a better future for the next generation of people. Ra's is a staunch eco-terrorist who continuously plans to return the Earth to its once natural splendor. During his 500-plus year lifespan, Ra's witnessed the world becoming rapidly more polluted and observed nature becoming more and more devastated while industrialization marched on. He saw humanity's overuse of coal, oil, and natural gas as murder to the Earth's environment. As with Thanos, the idea for a better civilization in the long term always justified the aberrant number of deaths involved. Fortunately, for the Desians of the DC universe, Ra's al Ghul's plans have always been thwarted by Batman. Batman refuses to kill Ra's, the Joker, or any villain, and thus in doing so, the villains always have the opportunity and potential to wreak more havoc. Batman lives his life by a strict moral code: no killing. By operating under a set of rules to distinguish right and wrong, Batman has what can be considered as an arguably deontological ethical philosophy. As with Captain America, he refuses to trade lives. Every life, whether villain, hero, or civilian, is valuable unto itself. Consequences are not justified by their action. The consequence of letting villains like Ra's and the Joker continue to live are that innocent civilians might die. His moral code emphasizes the one over the many. By letting Ra's al Ghul live, is Batman responsible for all the doom and the havoc he creates? Does Batman's refusal to kill make him responsible for every victim thereafter? While it may be easy to say that Batman should kill the villains of his rogues gallery, in letting them live, Batman is placing his faith in the justice system to be the judge, jury, and even executioner. As a vigilante and individual, Batman understands that his moral and ethical ideas can't be forced onto society in such a severe and impactful way. It is the job of public institutions to decide the fate of criminals. He only exists to help facilitate the process. Given how incredibly easy it would be for Batman and other heroes like Captain America to cross this line, it's arguably the more commendable and difficult philosophy to maintain. If Batman executed his moral crusade against criminals in the utilitarian mindset of Thanos that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of one, he would likely be feared and seen as more of a Punisher-like figure. While we may be fine with Batman crossing the line, what about other vigilantes? Batman's actions might inspire copycat vigilantes to kill those that they believe have committed wrongdoing. It's almost inevitable that some of these vigilantes will have ethical codes completely opposite to those of normal society. If one were to believe abortion was murder, would he or she kill countless scores of women? And would a racist justify the killing of minorities? These ends obviously do not justify the means to society, but they could make sense to a specific individual. Thanos and Ra's al Ghul, unlike Batman, believe that they know what's best for society. Only their solution matters, nothing else. This completely undermines the basic tenets of democracy and the freedom that the United States holds so dear. Thanos' agenda completely disregards the impact that the death of loved ones can have on individuals and how difficult it will be to rebuild society when people are randomly removed from their job functions. Had he opened his mind to the opinions of others, he may have discovered that his plan was not as foolproof as he once thought. So, does the end justify the means? Is Thanos' snap ethical? We say no. While Thanos' utilitarianism may have the goal of a better society, the cost is not worth the loss of individual well-being, freedom, and life. All peoples have intrinsic value, and no single individual should ever be able to decide something as impactful as a snap by themselves. If individuals take the well-being of society and execution of others into their own hands, massive bias is bound to occur. While it may be easy to want heroes like Batman to make the Thanoses and Ra's al Ghuls of the world disappear, we must follow in the Dark Knight's footsteps and believe that the rule of the law and good in society will prevail. While servicing the greater good may seem like the more economical thing to do, it is not the most humane or practical. Humanity and society's evolution is one we should be proud of, not look at in shame and regret. So, what do you think? Let us know, comment below, and if you want to hear more analysis on Thanos, be sure to check out our friend at Comic Books vs. the World to learn more about his powerful stones and what all their individual roles are. See ya later!